My father died and my stepmother and half-sister kicked me out of our home the very next day, not knowing Dad's real will is in my hands. I stood in the driveway as Vanessa changed the security code right in front of me. Her perfectly manicured nails tapped the keypad with deliberate slowness. Her red lips curled into a smile that never reached her eyes. You understand, don't you, Olivia? She adjusted her black designer dress, the one she'd worn to Dad's funeral just hours ago. This is what your father would have wanted, a fresh start for everyone. Behind her, my half-sister Ashley averted her gaze, clutching her phone like a shield. She was only 26 years younger than me, but right now the gap felt like decades. You buried him this morning and you are already erasing me. My voice cracked. Dad built this house for all of us. Vanessa's smile tightened. The will was quite clear. Dear, the house goes to me. The company shares to me and Ashley. Here's a small trust fund for you, of course. Your father wasn't completely heartless. I swallowed the lump in my throat. The small trust fund was pocket change compared to the Richardson family fortune. Dad had built a tech empire from nothing, and now I was being handed crumbs. I need to get my things, I insisted, fighting back tears. We have packed what you'll need, Vanessa gestured to 3 suitcases on the gravel. 3 suitcases for 26 years of life. The rest can be shipped once you have a permanent address. I looked up at the mansion that had been my home since I was 8, when Dad married Vanessa. The sprawling California estate with its floor-to-ceiling windows now felt like a museum I was being barred from. This isn't right, I whispered. Dad wouldn't do this. People change, Olivia. Vanessa sighed dramatically. Your father and I discussed everything. He felt you needed to stand on your own 2 feet away from the family business. That didn't sound like my father at all. He had been grooming me to take over Richardson Tech since I graduated college. Something was wrong. I'd like a copy of the will, I said, straightening my shoulders. Our lawyers will send it over. Vanessa checked her watch. Now, if you don't mind, we have the family gathering to prepare for the family gathering, where relatives and business associates would pay their respects. A gathering I was apparently no longer invited to. Ashley finally looked at me, her blue eyes like Dad swimming with what almost seemed like guilt. She opened her mouth as if to speak, then closed it when Vanessa shot her a warning glance. As I loaded my suitcases into my car, I felt the weight of the small key in my jacket pocket. The key Dad had pressed into my palm during our last private moment together 2 days before his sudden heart attack. If anything happens to me, he'd whispered, his eyes serious, get to the safe deposit box at First National. Tell no one. At the time, I'd laughed it off as Dad being dramatic. Now, as Vanessa closed the wrought iron gates behind me, that key felt like the last connection to the truth, and perhaps the only way to reclaim what was rightfully mine. I never imagined that losing Dad would mean losing everything else too, but Vanessa had no idea what I was capable of, or what secrets that key would unlock. The studio apartment I rented was the size of my old walk-in closet, a far cry from the Richardson estate with its infinity pool and panoramic views of the Pacific. I placed Dad's framed photo on the tiny kitchen counter, the only decoration in my new home. This is temporary, I told his smiling face as if he could hear me 3 days after being kicked out. My phone buzzed with an email from Richardson Tech HR. My position as director of Redec Development had been terminated effective immediately. The reason, company restructuring, the same company where I'd worked 60-hour weeks for the past 4 years, helping Dad expand into international markets. I called my team lead, Jason, who had always been a friend. I am sorry, Liv. His voice was strained. It came from the top. Vanessa's already moved her nephew into your office. That's impossible. He doesn't even have tech experience. Things are changing fast. There are rumors. He paused. Rumors that you were fired for embezzlement. My stomach dropped. That's absurd, I know. But Vanessa's telling the board you've been siphoning development funds. First my home, then my job, now my reputation. Vanessa was methodically erasing me from the life I'd built. I tried calling Dad's oldest friends, business partners who'd watched me grow up, who'd attended my college graduation. Shin returned my calls. The few who did answer were cold, distant. Whatever story Vanessa was spinning had poisoned even them against me. That night, I finally opened the safe deposit box. Inside was a sealed envelope with "For Olivia in case of emergency" written in Dad's hasty scrawl, along with a flash drive and a set of documents. My hands trembled as I broke the seal. Dad's letter was brief. My dearest Olivia, if you are reading this, something has happened to me and you've been pushed out. I've suspected for some time that Vanessa has been manipulating my medications. I can't prove it, but I've noticed cognitive changes when she insists on helping me take them. The attached will is the only legal one. It leaves Richardson Tech to you with trusts for Ashley. Vanessa dismissed my regular lawyer last year and brought in her own. I played along while gathering evidence of her financial manipulations. The flash drive contains security footage from my home office and medical records. Take this to Marcus Chen, only him. He was my college roommate and the best criminal attorney in the state. I'm sorry to leave you with this burden. I've always been proudest of you. All my love, Dad. I stared at the letter, my hand shaking so badly the paper rustled. Dad hadn't changed his will. He hadn't pushed me out. And worse, much worse, Vanessa might have killed him. The following week was a blur of meetings with Marcus Chen, who reviewed the evidence with growing concern. The footage shows Vanessa switching pills in your father's medication case, he said grimly. And these blood tests from his last physical show unusual levels of his heart medication. Can we go to the police? Marcus shook his head. Not yet. The evidence is circumstantial. We need more before making accusations of murder against someone as connected as Vanessa Richardson. I slumped in my chair. So she gets away with it, with everything? Not necessarily. Marcus tapped the authentic will. This is legally binding. But challenging the fraudulent will she's probating requires strategy. If we move too soon, she'll destroy evidence we need. So what do? We investigate quietly. The old our case, he gave me a pointed look. And you should consider reaching out to your sister, half-sister? I corrected automatically. Ashley has always been Vanessa's puppet, perhaps, but according to this will, she still inherits a significant portion. And she might not know what her mother has done. I thought about Ashley's guilty expression when I was being kicked out. The way she'd almost spoken up before Vanessa silenced her. Later that night, scrolling through social media, I saw Ashley had posted photos from Richardson Tech's charity gala. She was smiling beside Vanessa, wearing my mother's diamond earrings, family heirlooms that should have come to me. The caption read, "New beginnings with Mom. So excited to join the executive team." So this was their plan all along. Push me out, install Ashley in my place, and pretend I never existed. Patience had never been my strong suit, but now it would be my greatest weapon. I would build my case meticulously, gathering every shred of evidence against Vanessa, and when the time came, I would take back everything she had stolen: my home, my company, my reputation. But first, I needed to find out just how much my little sister knew about our stepmother's deadly plan. The clefs mate I chose for meeting Ashley was public enough to be safe, but quiet enough for a private conversation. I arrived early, selecting a corner table with a view of the entrance and ordered coffee to calm my nerves. When she walked in, I barely recognized her. Was the casual college student, with highlighted hair and ripped jeans. This Ashley wore a tailored blazer, her hair sleekly styled, looking every bit the corporate executive Vanessa was grooming her to be. Her eyes widened when she spotted me. For a moment, I thought she might turn and leave, but she squared her shoulders and approached my table. "I didn't think you'd actually come," I said as she sat down. "Your text said it was important she wouldn't meet my eyes, and I wanted to see how you are doing, how I am doing." I laughed bitterly. "I lost my father, my home, and my job in the same week. How do you think I am doing?" Ashley flinched. "I didn't know Vanessa was going to fire you." "That wasn't part of the," she stopped abruptly. "Part of the what?" "Ashley, the plan to cut me out completely." She fidgeted with her coffee cup. "It wasn't like that. Mom said Dad wanted a fresh start for the company. That you weren't committed anymore and you believed her. Why wouldn't I? She's my mother. And you?" She hesitated. "You were always Dad's favorite." The raw pain in her voice caught me off guard. This wasn't the entitled princess I'd expected. "Is that what she told you? That Dad favored me?" Ashley nodded. "It was obvious. He was grooming you to take over, not me, even though I have a business degree too." I took a deep breath. "Ashley, I need to ask you something important. Did you notice anything strange about Dad's behavior before he died? Any sudden confusion?" Mamere issues, her eyes narrowed. "Why, just answer the question. Please, he did seem different the last few months," she admitted. "Crickful Mom said it was stress and his heart attack. Were you there?" "No, just Mom. It happened in his study." Her face clouded. "Why are you asking these things?" I weighed my options, telling her everything was risky, but I needed an ally inside the house. "Ashley, I don't think Dad's will is what Vanessa claims it is. I have reason to believe she's been lying to both of us." "That's ridiculous," she said, but uncertainty flickered in her eyes. "Mom wouldn't what? Lie, manipulate Ashley? Think about it, Ashley. Happened so fast after Dad died, too fast. Don't you find that strange?" She was quiet for a long moment. "What are you suggesting?" I leaned closer. "I'm suggesting you keep your eyes open. Notice things sparkly. Vanessa moves to sell any of Dad's assets or make major company changes. You're asking me to spy on my mother. I am asking you to make sure our father's real wishes are honored." Ashley stood abruptly. "I need to go. This was a mistake." "Wait." I reached for her arm. "Just take this." I slid a sealed envelope across the table. "It's a copy of some documents I found. Read them when you are alone. Then decide." She hesitated, then took the envelope and shoved it into her purse. "Ashley," I said as she turned to leave, "did you ever wonder why Vanessa was so quick to push me out? What she might be afraid I know?" She paused. "Maybe. She just doesn't like you. Or maybe tears more to Dad's death than a simple heart attack." Her face paled. She opened her mouth as if to respond, then closed it and hurried out. After she left, I called Marcus Chen. "I gave Ashley copies of the medical records, but not the will or the footage," I told him. "Risky move," he replied. "She could take everything straight to Vanessa, or she could start asking questions." I watched through the window as Ashley sat in her car, not driving away. I think there is part of her that already suspects something isn't right. What I didn't tell Marcus was that I'd also slipped a tiny tracking device into Ashley's purse, a prototype from my last Richardson Peck project. I needed to know exactly where my sister went after our meeting, because if she drove straight to Vanessa, my tentative plan would unravel before it even began. The tracking app on my phone showed Ashley hadn't gone home after our meeting. Instead, she drove to Richardson Memorial Cemetery to Dad's grave. She stayed for 45 minutes before finally returning to the estate. A good sign maybe, at least she hadn't immediately run to Vanessa. Over the next few days, I watched her movements carefully. She followed her normal routine from home to the Richardson Tech offices, occasionally stopping at her favorite boutiques or restaurants. No unusual detours, no panicked meetings with Vanessa. Perhaps she was actually reading the documents I'd given her. Meanwhile, Marcus Chen had discovered something troubling. Vanessa's trying to push through a sale of Richardson Tech's European division, he told me during our weekly meeting. "It's extremely undervalued and the buyer appears to be a shell company." "Let me guess, she secretly owns the shell company." Marcus nodded grimly. "Through 3 layers of holding companies. But yes, if this goes through, she'll essentially be buying company assets for pennies on the dollar. We need to stop it. We're building a legal case, but these things take time." Time was something I didn't have. The board would vote on the sale in 2 weeks. I needed to accelerate my plan, which meant taking a calculated risk. I called the one person at Richardson Tech who might still be loyal to me. Helen Weber, Dad's executive assistant for 15 years. We met at her modest home in the suburbs, away from prying eyes. "I've been waiting for you to reach out," Helen said, ushering me inside. "Things at the company are disturbing." "How bad?" "Vanessa's replaced half the executive team with her own people. She's restructuring departments that were performing well, and the European division sale makes no strategic sense." "Has she mentioned me?" Helen's expression darkened. "She told everyone you'd been embezzling funds for personal investments. Said your father discovered it just before he died." My hands clenched into fists. "That's why she needed me gone completely?" "I never believed it," Helen assured me. "Your father trusted you implicitly." "Helen, did you notice anything strange about Dad in his final weeks? Changes in behavior? Memory issues?" She hesitated. "He seemed confused sometimes. Missed meetings, forgot conversations we'd had. It started after his trip to New York with Vanessa. The timeline matched when Dad believed Vanessa began tampering with his medication and the night he died." I asked quietly. "Vanessa insisted nobody disturb them at home, said he was resting." Helen's eyes welled with tears. "I should have checked on him anyway. This wasn't your fault." I squeezed her hand. "But I need your help now. I need access to Dad's private server at the company." Vanessa had IT change all the passwords, but knowing Dad, he would have had a backdoor, a way to access his files that only you or I would know about. Helen's eyes widened in recognition. The chess program. Dad had been a chess enthusiast. He'd created a virtual chess program that appeared to be a simple game, but actually contained encrypted company files. "Is it still on the server?" Helen nodded. "Vanessa's people wouldn't recognize its importance, but you'll need to be physically in the building to access it. Can you get me in? The charity auction is next Friday. All executives will be there, including Vanessa and Ashley. The office will be nearly empty." It was the opportunity I needed. As I prepared to leave, Helen handed me a small box. "Your father wanted you to have this. I kept it when Vanessa started clearing out his office." Inside was Dad's watch, the vintage anal I'd given him for his 50th birthday. Engraved on the back were the words, "To Dad, time reveals truth, love, Olivia." I fastened it around my wrist, feeling closer to him than I had since the funeral. "He was so proud of you," Helen said softly. "Whatever Vanessa claims, never doubt that." That night, I received an unexpected text from Ashley. We need to talk, not in public. Not at the house. My pulse quickened. Had she read the documents? Was she finally seeing through Vanessa's lies? Or was this a trap with Vanessa coaching her every word? I had to know which side my sister was truly on before I made my next move, because depending on Ashley's loyalty, she could be either my greatest ally or the final obstacle in exposing the truth about our father's death. I suggested meeting Ashley at Dad's fishing cabin, a rustic retreat in the mountains that Vanessa had always despised. If this was a trap, at least it would be on terrain I knew well. Ashley arrived alone, which was promising. Her designer clothes and perfectly styled hair looked out of place against the cabin's weathered wood and simple furnishings. I read the medical reports, she said without preamble, and I looked into Dad's prescription history. What did you find? His medication was changed 3 times in the months before he died, each time after Vanessa met privately with his doctor. Ashley paced the small living room. That doesn't necessarily mean anything sinister. No, I agreed. But combined with his cognitive changes, it's still circumstantial. She stopped pacing. I need to see the rest of what you have, Olivia. All of it. Warning bells rang in my mind. Why the sudden interest? You seemed convinced Vanessa was telling the truth. Because if what you are implying is true, if my mother had something to do with Dad's death, I need to know. Her voice cracked. He was my father too. The raw emotion in her voice seemed genuine. Maybe I'd underestimated her all these years. Maybe she truly cared about Dad independent of Vanessa's influence. To hear is more, I admitted. Security footage from Dad's home office and a will, his real will, that contradicts the one Vanessa presented. Ashley's eyes widened. Show me. I hesitated, then retrieved my laptop from my bag. I showed her the security footage, first clips of Vanessa entering Dad's office when he wasn't there, opening his pill organizer, replacing some tablets with nearly identical ones. This doesn't prove anything, Ashley said, but her face had paled. She could have been organizing his medications. Watch this one. I played the clip of Dad visibly disoriented after taking pills Vanessa had given him, his confusion as he tried to work on his computer, eventually giving up and lying down on his office couch. And now the real will. I opened the document file. Noticed the date, 3 months before he died. After this, Vanessa brought in her own lawyer, who drafted the fraudulent will, leaving everything to her and you. Ashley scanned the document, her expression unreadable. This leaves the company to you with generous trusts for you, I pointed out. Dad wanted both of us taken care of. He just didn't trust Vanessa with the company he built. She was quiet for a long moment, staring at the laptop screen. When she finally looked up, there was a coldness in her eyes I'd never seen before. You always thought you were so much smarter than everyone else, she said quietly. Dad's perfect little prodigy. A chill ran down my spine. Ashley, did you really think I didn't know? That I'd believe these doctored videos and a fake will? She laughed bitterly. You are pathetic, Olivia. The will isn't fake. Neither is the footage. Mom warned me you'd try something like this, that you couldn't accept being cut out. She stood up abruptly. I came here to see just how far you'd go. My stomach dropped as understanding dawned. You never suspected Vanessa? You've been working with her all along? She's my mother? Of course I am on her side. Ashley's voice hardened. Did you know she's been preparing me for a leadership role since I was 16? All those summers I supposedly spent at camp? I was interning at our subsidiaries, learning every aspect of the business? While Dad was grooming me publicly, I realized aloud, exactly Mom's long game. She knew Dad would never see me as an equal to you, so you helped her kill him? The words came out as a horrified whisper. Ashley flinched. No, that wasn't. She just wanted control of his medication to make him more agreeable about the succession plan. The heart attack was unexpected, but her eyes shifted away from mine, and I knew she was lying either to me or to herself. Ashley, listen to me. Whatever Vanessa promised you, she's using you. The European division sale is brilliant strategy, Ashley interrupted. The market is unstable there. Cutting our losses now is smart business. It's broad. She's selling to herself through shell companies? A flicker of uncertainty crossed her face, quickly replaced by determination. I don't believe you. She pulled out her phone. I recorded this entire conversation. By the way, Mom will be interested in knowing exactly what evidence you claim to have. My blood ran cold. Ashley, please think about what you are doing. I am protecting my future. She moved toward the door. Stay away from Richardson Tech, Olivia. Stay away from the estate, and definitely stay away from the board meeting next week. As she reached for the doorknob, I made one last attempt. Dad's watch, the one I gave him. Did Vanessa tell you what happened to it? She paused. She said he lost it months ago. I pulled up my sleeve, revealing the watch on my wrist. Helen saved it for me. She knew Dad wanted me to have it. Ashley stared at it, genuine confusion crossing her features. If Vanessa lied about something this small, what else is she lying about? I asked quietly for a moment. Ashley seemed to waver. Then her expression hardened again. Goodbye, Olivia. Don't contact me again. After she left, I sat in the darkening cabin. The magnitude of her betrayal sinking in. Ashley had only met with me to gather intelligence for Vanessa. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus Chen. Security breach at my office. Files on your case, access Cal immediately. My careful plan was unraveling faster than I could repair it. With Ashley's recorded conversation and the breach at Marcus's office, Vanessa would move quickly to destroy any remaining evidence. I had less than 48 hours before everything I needed to prove my case would likely disappear forever. They took everything, Marcus said grimly as we surveyed his ransacked office. The back of copies of the will, the medical records, even your father's journal. The break-in had been professional. No fingerprints, security cameras disabled, targeted only to our case files. How did they know where to look? Marcus's expression darkened. My assistant Emma has disappeared. She's been with me 10 years, had access to all the files Vanessa got to her. Another ally lost. This isn't just about inheritance anymore. Olivia pouring into a law office, stealing evidence. Vanessa's desperate, and desperate people are dangerous. He was right. The stakes had escalated beyond a family dispute over money. If Vanessa was willing to kill Dad, what would she do to me now that I was actively threatening her plan? The board meeting is tomorrow, I said. Without the evidence, you need to walk away. Marcus interrupted. We can rebuild the case slowly, carefully. While Vanessa sells off Dad's company piece by piece. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Need to talk about 1 in a Plaza Hotel bar, 1 hour. Come alone. I showed Marcus the message. It's a trap, he said immediately, or it's someone with information. I grabbed my coat. I have to go. Olivia, this is exactly how people end up missing. That I'll make sure I am not alone. I called Helen Faber, asking her to meet me near the hotel. Stay in the lobby. If I don't text you every 15 minutes, call the police. The Plaza Hotel bar was dimly lit and half empty when I arrived. I scanned the room, not sure who I was looking for, when a familiar voice spoke from a corner booth. Hello, Olivia. Richard Kane, Vanessa's personal assistant, tall, impeccably dressed, and utterly loyal to her. Or so I'd thought. Richard, I remained standing ready to leave at the first sign of trouble. You are the last person I expected. Please sit. He gestured gestured to the seat across from him. I've already ordered you a gin and tonic. Still your favorite. I sat cautiously, ignoring the drink. What's this about? I've worked for Vanessa for 8 years. He straightened his already perfect tie. Things that crossed legal and ethical lines, like helping her murder my father. His eyes widened slightly. I had no part in that, but you knew. He looked away. I suspected the medication changes, the sudden memory issues. His voice dropped. The night he died. She called me to the house before calling 911. A chill ran through me. Why are you telling me this now? Because of Ashley? Richard's expression hardened. Vanessa promised her everything, the company, the estate, all of it. But I've seen the private acquisition documents for after the European division sale. She's planning to sell the entire company, piece by piece, cutting Ashley out completely. I realized exactly. Once your sister has served her purpose, she'll be discarded. He slid a flash drive across the table. This contains Vanessa's private emails, financial records, and recordings of conversations about your father's medication. I stared at the tiny drive. Why would you betray Vanessa? What's in it for you? A flicker of something regret. Shame crossed his face. Your father was a good man. He treated his employees with respect. Vanessa treats us like furniture. He hesitated. And Ashley deserves better than being her mother's pawn. I pocketed the drive. Vanessa will know it was you by tomorrow evening. I'll be on a plane to Singapore. New name, new life. He stood to leave. One more thing. Vanessa has hired someone to deal with you if you show up at the board meeting. We're careful after Richard left. I examined the flash drive in my palm. It could contain exactly what he promised. Or it could be a sophisticated virus designed to corrupt my remaining evidence. I wouldn't know until I checked it. I texted Helen that I was safe, then headed back to my apartment. Outside my building, a black Everest with tinted windows was parked across the street. The same vehicle I'd noticed near the Plaza Hotel. I was being followed. Instead of going inside, I walked past my building and ducked into a crowded restaurant, exiting through the kitchen into the alley behind. I called an Uber to take me to a hotel across town, paid cash for a room, and finally opened my laptop to examine Richard's flash drive. It contained everything he'd promised and more emails between Vanessa and a pharmaceutical chemist, discussing how to create tablets that looked identical to Dad's heart medication, but contained dangerously increased dosages, financial records showing millions transferred to offshore accounts, a recorded conversation where Vanessa explicitly told Ashley, once we have control, we'll sell everything and you'll never have to work again. Most damning of all, a video from the night Dad died, Vanessa entering his study, finding him unconscious, checking his pulse, then waiting nearly 30 minutes before calling for help, removing papers from his desk in the meantime. More than enough. I sent copies of everything to Marcus, to Helen, and to a secure cloud account. Then I called a journalist I knew at the Financial Times, someone who had always admired Dad and would understand the significance of what I had. By morning, the story would break. But I still needed to stop the board vote on the European division sale, and for that I needed to confront Vanessa face to face, despite the threat waiting for me as I finalized my plan. My phone buzzed with a text from Ashley. Mom knows you met with Richard. She's furious. Be careful. Was it a genuine warning or another trap? I couldn't be sure, but I had no choice but to proceed. Tomorrow would end either with justice for Dad or with Vanessa completing her takeover of everything he had built, and perhaps my own life hanging in the balance. The Richardson Tech headquarters gleamed in the morning sunlight as I approached. Security would be expecting me, likely, with orders to bar my entry, but I had anticipated this. Helen Baber met me 2 blocks away, handing me her security badge and a company laptop. The board meeting starts at 10 o'clock, she said. Vanessa's presenting the European division sale as the first agenda item. Has the Financial Times story broken yet? Helen shook her head. They're fact-checking. It should publish within hours. Too late for the board meeting. I would have to rely on the evidence alone. I entered through the loading dock, head down, Helen's badge clipped to my blazer. The few employees who recognized me looked startled but said nothing as I made my way to the executive floor. Outside the boardroom, I paused. Through the glass walls, I could see Vanessa at the head of the table, elegantly dressed in one of her designer suits, gesturing confidently as she spoke. Ashley sat to her right, taking notes on her tablet. The board members, mostly Dad's old friends and business associates, listened attentively. I took a deep breath and pushed open the door. Conversation stopped abruptly. Vanessa's smooth smile froze on her face. Olivia, she said, her voice dangerously soft. Security will escort you out before they do, I replied, moving to the center of the room. The board should see what I've found. I connected Helen's laptop to the presentation system. Vanessa lunged for her phone, presumably to call security, but I was already pulling up the files. My father did not die of a simple heart attack, I announced, my voice steady despite my racing pulse. He was systematically poisoned by his wife, who then presented a fraudulent will to take control of his company. Murmurs rippled through the room. Ashley's face had gone pale. This is absurd, Vanessa snapped. The medical examiner confirmed it. Heart failure induced by medication tampering, I countered, playing the first video Vanessa switching Dad's pills. And here's the proof as the evidence unfolded on the screen. The emails, the financial records, the damning video from the night of Dad's death. The board members' expression shifted from skepticism to shock to outrage. This is all fabricated, Vanessa insisted, but her voice had lost its confidence. I revealed the authentic will, pointing out the verification from Dad's original attorney. And finally I said, here's the true purpose of today's vote. I displayed the documents showing the shell companies Vanessa had created, the planned dismantling of Richardson Tech, then the offshore accounts where the proceeds would be funneled. She doesn't care about the company my father built, I concluded. She only wants to liquidate it for her personal gain. The boardroom had gone deadly quiet. I could feel Vanessa's eyes boring into me, calculating her next move. Then Ashley stood up. It's all true, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know about Dad's death, not until recently, but I knew about the company sale. Mom promised we'd split everything. Vanessa's face contorted with fury. Ashley, sit down, now. But Ashley continued, tears streaming down her face. I helped her because I was jealous of you, Olivia. Dad always favored you and I needed to matter too. You betrayed me, Vanessa hissed. No, you betrayed me, Ashley shot back. Richard showed me the real acquisition plans. You were going to cut me out completely once you had control. Chaos erupted in the boardroom. 2 security guards appeared at the door, but the board chairman waved them away. And Sadie asked them to ensure Vanessa remained in the building while they contacted the authorities as the police were called and the board meeting dissolved into urgent discussions. I found myself face to face with Vanessa for the correction.